welcome to the Liverpool Show brought to the Purring Podcast. It's time to do our report cards for all 10 nations. So, as soon as we do on the main show each year with the PHR teams, we just basically, we look back at the performances, we give our critiques on it. So, we are now on course to go through the top 5 teams. So we're now at the halfway point. We did teams 10 through 6, and now we're on the top 5. I remind you, we are doing this in reverse order of the final rankings. On the last show, we did the team that finished 6th in the rankings. Now we move on to the team that finished 5th. So, the team that finished 5th in the final rankings was Czechia. So they played 5 games in total, their 4 group games, and that quarterfinal matchup against Sparia. So throughout those 5, Czechia had 1 regulation win, 0 overtime wins, 1 overtime loss, and 3 regulation losses. In terms of their goal differential, they only scored 7 and conceded 16. That's a goal differential of -9. 4 points in total. Now, I will hold my hands up. Okay, I'll hold my hands up and admit I got it wrong about Czechia. I got Czechia wrong. I personally felt that Czechia had a very high chance to win a medal for the very first time in what would only have been their second appearance in the games. I thought Czechia had a very good chance, but I had a lot of proof to back that up. And that was Czechia's previous performances in the World Championships. Because since the last Olympic cycle, Czechia has been to the bronze medal every single year since. They won it in 2022 and 2023. They lost the bronze medal again in 2024 and in 2025. Although if you asked me, they should have won in 2025. So I personally felt that was Czechia was on course as well. Plus, look who they had behind the bench. I know we haven't talked much about coaches, but Cara McLeod did absolute wonders for that program. I'm so surprised that she is no longer with the program. But I felt Cara McLeod had done wonders since they went to Beijing. She has done absolute wonders with that program and has literally turned it around. I am just so impressed with what she's done for that nation. But alas, not to be. And I think the warning signs probably were there from their first couple of group games. Obviously, their first group game was always going to be a tough one because it was against Oz, the Americans. Now, Czechia did manage to get a goal in that game. Czechia is one of the only 2 teams to get a goal past the Americans. The other, of course, was Canada in the gold medal game. But their second group game, which of course was the day the opening ceremony against Switzerland, that really should have shown the teaming problems that Czechia would ultimately face. Because Czechia had a lead in that game. And then when Switzerland got their first goal, I thought, could we see something happen here? Could we maybe see Czechia now not be able to handle the pressure? Would they buckle under it? Would Switzerland be able to force overtime and Czechia gets the extra point? Which still wouldn't have made much difference. Because I'm telling you now, guys, if Czechia had won that game against Switzerland, then nothing changes. They still stay 3rd. If the rest of the tournament played out the way it did, Czechia still stays 3rd and still would have gone to face Sparia in the quarterfinals. So nothing would have changed, okay? Nothing would have changed on that front. But no, so that result really should have been... And of course, obviously, I need to make a disclaimer. Apart from the US game, we backed Czechia in the tournament. Because obviously, at the time, we had 2 Frost players on Czechia's roster. So we also gave them our support when they did not play the Americans. So there you go. Just want to make a little disclaimer there for you guys, okay? So we did... Okay. So we also did a little soft spot for Czechia because they had some Frost players on our team. On their team, I should say. They had Frost players from our team on their team. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I thought Czech had a really good squad. They had a good mix of various players from the different teams in the PHL. and also non-PSL players. So there's a good mix of the bands there. But unfortunately, it just didn't really so come together in a way. Now they did manage to get that win over Finland, but you could argue if Finland hadn't been, still reeling from norovirus, would Czechia have got the win convincingly there, or would Finland have managed to pull together and got the win that might have helped get them third place rather than Czechia in the group? Because it's kind of interesting, because I think a lot of us did have high hopes for Czechia to do well in the groups. And yes, they did end up getting third place, which normally would be good, but they kind of got it by default in a way, because Finland obviously had norovirus and they weren't able to perform as well as they could have done. And Czechia, despite getting that one win, they got points. They got points off Switzerland at least, because I would expect Czechia to at least get points against Switzerland. Switzerland and Finland were the two teams I expected Czechia to get points off, and then just ride your luck with us and the Canadians. That's how I've seen Czechia's performance in these Olympics. But yeah, now for me, I want to talk more about the quarterfinal match with Sweden above all else, because since that matchup, it's really, really, really made my blood boil. A lot of commentators and analysis thoughts on that match. It really has made my blood boil when they keep saying that it was a shock that Sparia won over Czechia. And I just keep thinking, well, did any of you guys watch Group B? Because I did. I watched the entire tournament. Group A, Group B, the knockouts, the lot. And Sparia, in their group, I will talk more about that when we do Sparia, they destroyed every team in that group. Not even Germany came close to putting a scratch on them. Okay? So you had a team in Sparia going into that knockouts matchup so full of confidence, undefeated, and Czechia, they only had one win on their belts. That was against a team reeling from a nasty illness. Okay, so and when I watched that quarterfinal, I felt that Sweden were the better team. I felt Sweden were playing the better game. I felt Sweden performed a lot better than Czechia did. I wasn't really impressed with a lot of Czechia. At the end of the day, Czechia got shut out by Sweden. So how can you say that was a shock result when Czechia did not perform to the high, dare I say, very high expectations that we all put this team under at the start of the tournament back in February? Okay, so it just really makes my blood boil, and it gets on my tits. Whatever analogy you want to use, whatever metaphor you want to use, it just gets literally on my nerves that people keep saying it was a shock. It wasn't a shock result. Okay? And clearly, I think what it showed was Czechia wasn't ready. It was just too soon. I know we've been saying on the show, watch out for Czechia, but we're saying more in the long-term future, not literally, right now, when Czechia really is still like a bronze medal team. They're not ready yet to take on the likes of USA and Canada. Okay? So, it bothers me that people kept saying that, like, oh, they thought it was a shock. It wasn't a shock, guys. Come on. Let's be serious. Let's be real. Okay? Let's all be grown-ups. Okay? Let's all be the grown-ups in the room and just admit it was not a shock result. It wasn't a shock result, guys. So come on, let's all be adults. Come on, let's all be grown-ups. Admit it. Czechia did not do well in that quarter match against Sweden, and Sweden deserved to go through. And Sweden proved they deserved to go through because they put up a really strong fight in the bronze medal match. Okay, so less said about that, the better. So I think with Czechia, they are soon going to be a team to watch. They will one day be a medal contender. It's just unfortunately it was just too soon. But the problem was we had the evidence really to back it up, because Czechia since Beijing, put a lot of work in to really turn their fortunes around. You win bronze in the World Championships in 2022 and 2023. Then you missed out the next two, although last year they got it should have been theirs. It should have been theirs. Okay, if Tesla Junior like to keep mowing about 2019, then I think me and Lady should be allowed to mow about Czechia 2025 until the cows come home. Because you still play titles on shows how Tesla Junior keep mowing about, you know, Finland being robbed in 2019. Well, if that's how you want, well, if that's how it should be, two can play at that game. Me and Lady will keep saying that Czechia was robbed in 2025. Two can play that game. Okay, let's all be petty bitches together. Yeah, so they had done a lot of really good work, largely due to Karma Cloud's coaching. She came into that program after the Beijing Olympics, and she turned it around. And I'm just really impressed with what Czech was able to do, which is why I think it's so surprising that she has been let go. She is no longer going to be on the program going forward. We have Brian Darski, the now disgraced head coach of the Vancouver Golden Eyes, taking over. He's not even got a job with the top league anymore. He's now gone back down to the junior levels. So how the mighty fallen there. Yeah, so Brian Darski will be coming in and taking over as Czechia's head coach going forward. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with the program, and we haven't got that long to find out. So obviously we've got the World Championships literally round the corner. It'll be interesting to see, you know, what can he do with the team, with the program going into those. Can Czechia stay as a strong medal contender, or are they going to falter? Because they are in our group alongside Switzerland, who they faced in Milano-Cortina, and we've also got Germany as well. Germany, I think, might also be an interesting matchup. I definitely expect Czechia to definitely take 4 points out of Austria, and then Germany and Switzerland are the two toss-ups. Switzerland, they can get points out of. Germany, I know that much might determine who gets second in the group. But we'll see. Yeah, so hopefully this team will not take, you know, massive steps backwards, because it could happen. We don't know what sort of style Brian Darski's going to bring to the Czechs when we get to Denmark in a few months' time. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. I just don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Czechia at the Worlds this year in Denmark. Yeah, but if we compare it to 2022 in terms of Olympics, and I remember to do it before closing the show this time. Okay. So yeah, so Czechia only made one previous participation in the Olympic stage, and that was 2022 in Beijing. Now in Beijing, so in Beijing they came 7th overall, and this time they were 5th. So you can see there that is a massive improvement compared to where they were when they first debuted. Okay, that is a massive improvement. Okay, so Czechia definitely is taking the right steps forward. This is why I don't think Lake Harbour Clark is a good idea, because you are on the rise. You are taking those right steps forward, and now you've made a coaching switch. You've made a coaching change. You've gone the carousel. I don't think it's a good idea, especially how Brian Darski did not live up to the high expectations we had for him going into the PHL with the Golden Eyes this year. He basically had a tantrum. He had a temper tantrum when he kept saying travel was the big reason why Golden Eyes weren't where they should be. No, Brian. No. It was not the sole factor. Okay? It played a factor, but it was not the sole factor as to why the Golden Knights struggled in their debut campaign, as did Seattle. Okay? As did Seattle. And interesting how both those expansion teams made their coaches walk the plank. But Steve O'Rourke deserved it. He had it coming. We never had any high hopes for him, so he definitely had it coming. But yeah, so I think it'll be interesting to see how Brian Adamski handles the team. Will he still be in the post when we get to the French Alps 2030? I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Yeah, it's a bit of but I just feel with Czechia, you made so much improvement compared to where you were 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, they made their debut, they came 7th. This time around, they came 5th. So that was impressive for Czechia. And I am so excited to see where the program goes next. Because if you go back 4 years ago, you feel, okay, Czechia's not done well. It could be like Denmark. They then don't qualify the following year, because obviously that's happening. Can you believe we had 2 nations made their debuts back in the COVID Olympics? Czechia and Denmark. Denmark came 10th in Beijing, and they didn't qualify this year. In fact, of course, Denmark last year had to win promotion from Division 1A to get back to the top tier. Yeah, we had Denmark and Czechia made their debuts back in 2022. Czechia found a way to stay, whereas Denmark has not. But I think that's largely due to the fact that Czechia has now risen in the world rankings. Largely due to the fact they've made it 4 consecutive appearances in the bronze medal match. I do think Czechia, okay, the path might be a bit harder, but I do think Czechia could still have a very good chance of getting back to the medal matches again this year in Denmark, and that would make it 5 in a row, which would be quite an impressive feat. Especially, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Brian Adamski being a new head coach for the team. Can he really, carry on where Carla, left on, So, yeah, I just feel with Czechia, it's tough because this team had so much high hopes. There was a lot of high expectations for Czechia. Could they break through and get a medal? And that would have been another new nation winning, which would have been incredible. It would have been the biggest year-on-year improvement. Because obviously, as I just said earlier, 2022, they came 7th overall. And this time round, they came 5th overall. So, massive, massive improvements. So, we'll see how it goes there. Can they go further? Maybe go to the next step and get a medal in French Alps, maybe? Who knows? We'll see. Time will tell. We will see how it goes. But it was, yeah. But I will hold my hand to admit I got it wrong about Czechia. I got it wrong. I gave too much high expectations for them, but we all did. I'm not the only guilty party, guys. Okay, I'm not the only guilty party here. It's just I'm probably the only one who's actually going to own up to it. Because I think a lot of people who did predict Czechia to win a medal, they probably won't own up to the fact they put too much pressure on them. Whereas I will I definitely will hold my hands up. I'll admit my mistake. I shouldn't. It was just one cycle too soon. And who knows? Maybe by the time we get to the French Alps, we'll have more evidence to suggest that Czechia is potentially on the rise for a medal in 2030. But it was just too. Clearly, it was too much too soon. But understandable because they had so much high expectations going to it. They made the biggest effort, the biggest improvements from one Olympic cycle to the next, and they are so close to taking that next step. They are just so close to getting to that next step. It's just it needs a little bit more time. It just needs a little bit of fine tuning. And then, who knows, we could maybe see Czechia win that medal either in the French Alps in 2030 or potentially, if not then, Salt Lake City in 2034. I think if they don't do well in 2030, then when it gets 2034, they absolutely will be ready. Because by that point, we'll have had a full decade of the PHL under our belts. So I do feel that Czechia, the 2030s could be their time to shine. So it would either be the French Alps or Salt Lake City? I'm going to put money on Salt Lake City because I think the French Alps probably might still be too much pressure. They could maybe put themselves in the medal match in the French Alps, but probably won't be till Salt Lake City when they get that medal. But who knows? I could be proven absolutely wrong. I was proven wrong this year in Milano-Cortina. So who knows? I could be absolutely proven wrong. Yet again indeed. But I just felt it was just tough luck for them because they had the tools there. They had obviously a brilliant coach from their belts in Carl McLeod. They made those improvements. They made the biggest turnaround since their first Olympic appearance, and I just felt they could have done it. And unfortunately, alas, not to be. Okay, so that's going to conclude this team report card for Czechia. So yeah, not many to go now, guys. We're now at the medalists. We are almost we're now at the teams that have reached the medal round. So yeah, that's exciting. But that, as I said, that's going to conclude this report card for Team Czechia. It's really good to see them back in the Olympics again because I'm not too sure how they were going to do compared to after their performance in Beijing. But it's really good to see them, qualify again. They really are on the up. I mean, their past 4 World Championship appearances have shown that this team, is going in the right directions. And who knows, maybe in the next Olympics or the one after that, they'll surprise us even more. But that's going to do it. That is good. Oh, God, really heat. That's going to do it for us today. Until next time, take care and ciao for now.